Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 9. We will chant from verse 30 to 34.
अपि चेत् सुदुराचारः भजते मामनन्यभाक् साधुरेव समन्तव्यः सम्यग्व्यवसितो हि सः क्षिप्रम् भवति धर्मात्मा शश्वच्छान्तिम् निगच्छति कौन्तेय प्रतिजानीहि न मे भक्तः प्रणश्यति मां हि पार्थव्यपाश्रित्य येऽपि स्युः पापयोनयः स्त्रियो वैश्यास्तथा शूद्राः तेऽपि यान्ति परां गतिम् किं पुनर्ब्राह्मणाः पुण्याः भक्ता राजर्षयस्तथा अनित्यमसुखं लोकम् इमं प्राप्य भजस्व माम् मन्मना भव मद्भक्तः मद्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मामे वैश्यसि युक्त्वैवम् आत्मानं मत्परायणः.
Last week, we concluded with verse number 30 and 31. So, in verse number 30, he tells us even if a very wicked person worships me with unswerving devotion, he too shall be regarded as righteous indeed, for he has rightly resolved. So, every human being has got the opportunity. Like nobody is denied the opportunity of self improvement and also reaching the ultimate state of self realization. So, therefore, he is talking about the worst case scenario, a very wicked person. So, what is important in spiritual field, in fact, in life, is what direction you are taking. Your present status is not important, but are you going in a positive direction or are you going in a negative direction? So, we discussed the chart. There was a PowerPoint last week on a scale of 0 to 100. Somebody may be at 75% level of spiritual evolution. But if mind takes over, that person can come hurtling down. You may be born in a very conducive environment. Your parents could be righteous. You have put efforts. But some silly desire, one or two desires, they can topple the mind. So, person at 75% of level can come down, or another person could be at 25% of evolution, but he or she is focused, consistent. That person can go all the way up to the state of self realization. So, therefore, we say your present status is not important at all. Don't worry about what you have not done in your life so far. It's a waste of time. Even if you made mistakes, and if you ignored your growth, spiritual growth, so you can't go back into the past and fix it. It is fait accompli. So why unnecessarily worry about the past when the entire future is there in front of you, ahead of you? So that's the main point we learned in verse number 30, and then we discussed the example of unexplored cave. What is the comparison? Length and depth of darkness does not matter. The moment you introduce light, you can start exploring the cave. So, how long you were ignored, the depth of your ignorance, you could be totally ignorant. It has got absolutely no meaning. All you need is introduce the light of this knowledge. So that light will take you all the way to the ultimate state. So therefore, the conclusion is there is hope for every human being because every human being has a choice of action. No other creature has got choice of action. Right? Since we are born as a human being, we are given that gift from the providence. So forget the past, focus on the future. In verse number 31, this thought flow continues. Soon he becomes righteous and attains eternal peace, O Kaunteya, O Arjuna. Know for certain that my devotee never perishes. It's a very famous statement from Bhagavad Gita, Na me bhakta pranashyati. It's a promise from the Lord that my devotee will never perish. Now, what it means, what he is declaring is law of life. It's not based on any superstition. It's not that, Lord himself is promising, therefore, it is true. Of course, it's true because it is a law of life. So, do we have that PowerPoint, Makran? So, this analysis becomes quite clear when you see on the screen. Yeah, so we are discussing that last statement in verse number 31. Know for certain that my devotee never perishes. So every human being has this choice of action. Either you follow the worldly path to fulfill your selfish desires. So if you follow worldly path, what happens? It is a path of ignorance. Direction itself is wrong. Since foundation is ignorance, it produces never-ending desires. And these never-ending desires, you can't find any satiation. There is no fulfillment. Unfulfilled desires produce stress, worry, anxiety. There is disharmony, conflict unnecessarily. You are victimized by your senses. When senses go out of control, you are victimized by them. Stress-related diseases, they affect your performance. Your action becomes impoverished. Worst case scenario, it comes to a grinding halt. There are some people who break moral and legal barriers to fulfill their desires. Yes, hundreds of stories we keep hearing, isn't it? This is how you devolve because you are keeping on, you are adding more desires and you are pushed further into ignorance. So it's a law of life. That's what I am trying to explain to you. On the other hand, a sincere seeker, a person who follows spiritual path, it is a path of knowledge and wisdom. It reduces desires. You live a life of fulfillment and contentment. There is peace. There is harmony with all. You are able to get along with everybody. Irrespective of, they may not like you, but still your attitude towards them is you embrace everybody. That is important. So there is harmony towards all. There is command on the senses. You are not victimized by the sense objects. You are peaceful, you are dynamic, and you are productive as opposed to a person who is full of stress. and needs a break from time to time. There is clarity to manage your life, steer your life towards your spiritual evolution. Therefore, you evolve, and eventually, such a person will merge with Supreme Reality. So, now if you look at this analysis, it makes sense that why Krishna says, "My devotee never perishes." So it's the law of life, it's a fact of life. It depends on which direction you are taking. And such powerful and forceful statements are made to support weaker minds, even relatively weaker minds. And we all have, none of us can say, "Oh, I have that ultimate conviction to pursue this path." So, therefore, promise from the authority helps, My devotee never perishes, yeah, thank you, for encouraging me. Thank you for words of inspiration. But end of the day, you need to lift yourself by yourself. Just because you surrender, that does not mean anything per se. You have to put efforts. Uddharet atmanatmanam. Human being must lift himself by himself. So this is what we discussed last week, was number 30 and 31. So are we okay? Perfect. Verse number 32. The thought flow continues.
मां हि पार्थव्यपाश्रित्य येऽपि स्युः पापयोनयः स्त्रियो वैश्यास्तथा शूद्राः तेऽपि यान्ति परां गतिम् मां हि पार्थव्यपाश्रित्य येऽपि स्युः पापयोनयः स्त्रियो वैश्यास्तथा शूद्राः तेऽपि यान्ति परां गतिम्
For those who take refuge in me, O Partha or Arjuna, though of sinful birth, women, Vaishya, and even Shudras, they also attain the supreme goal. Now, when he says sinful birth, it means mentally agitated people. Even, even if somebody is totally disturbed, you know, even then that person is not disqualified. This is what we need to understand. Every human being can reach the ultimate if he or she changes his direction. So nobody is disqualified. And when he says women, Vaishya, and Shudra, I'm going to explain it systematically. It's all used symbolically. He's talking about four qualities which could be a barrier in our spiritual growth. So when he says women, it is not gender specific statement. You have to understand it. It's important. But there are people who argue. No, Bhagavad Gita says, uh, women are of sinful birth, they are mentally agitated. We don't argue with such people. Okay, you interpret it your way. The point is, every human being has got hope. It ends on a positive note. Nobody is disqualified. You may be man, you may be woman, you may be anybody, it doesn't matter. It's not a gender specific statement. So what is talking about is emotional nature of a person. Emotional person remains mentally disturbed, and you need a calm mind, relatively calm mind, to pursue spiritual path. So man could be totally emotional, woman could be totally emotional. Whoever is emotional, it is a barrier. Now, having emotions is a virtue. If you do not have emotions, you are not a human being. But if you become emotional, follow the distinction carefully. See, let me repeat. If you do not have emotions, you are not a human being. But if you are affected by emotions, if you become emotional, then it becomes a barrier. I mean, such a person cannot function normally in life. Anything can affect him or her. Slightest confrontation at home, let's say argument with your partner, for weeks and weeks you could remain disturbed. Or in your workplace, somebody says something nasty to you, it could bother you for weeks. Or tendency to get excited when something good happens, something happy happens, no? Or tendency to get dejected when something unpleasant happens. So such a person, he goes through a roller coaster ride throughout his life. That is a life of an emotional person. And the example we often give, I must have given this example at least 10 times, 20 times in the class, but you master that example, is the example of a plank on a flat ground. 100 feet long wooden plank, maybe 1 foot wide and couple of inches thick. If we put it on the ground, if we lay it on the ground and we are told to go from one end to the other, how many of us will go? 100 feet long plank, 1 foot wide, 2 inches thick. It is placed in your backyard. How many of us will go from one end to the other? I know it's a silly example. I mean, what's the big deal? That's the reaction. Correct. What's the big deal? But now raise the same plank to, I don't know, 300 feet. How many of us will go from one end to the other? You understand, if you understand this example, you understood the concept. How many of us would go? 300 feet, not on the ground. How many of us would go?
Not many.
Not many. Why?
Fear, self-doubting.
On the ground, why no fear?
Because it's not safe.
Sorry?
Because it's not safe.
It is safe. Certified by the best architects. Shaileshbhai himself is certifying. He is the best architect in Michigan.
Fear of falling.
See, I mean, all these are correct answers. Yes,
Your mind is calm on the ground.
correct. See, there is no fear on the ground, right? So since there is no fear, meaning mind is calm, your intellect is available. Yes, I can go from one end to the other. But when it is at that tremendous height that fear comes, meaning your mind overpowers your personality. And when mind overpowers your personality, your intellect freezes. You cannot act. You get a point. So you apply this formula in day-to-day life. This is what emotions do to you if you become emotional. So you can't function. Instead, you may start sulking. There might be an outburst of emotion. So the action comes to a grinding halt. So therefore, emotional person is always disturbed. Do you get the point? because something or the other keeps on bothering you from the world. Something at home, something at work, something happening in the community. What's happening in America? What's happening in America? What's happening? It's your mind. It's nothing. It's a 250-year-old nation. I mean, what can go wrong? It's the mind which keeps on bothering you. So how can you function with that agitated state of mind? And you need a calm and composed mind to follow this knowledge, to understand this knowledge, to pursue spiritual path. So in that sense, women is used, a person who is emotional. And then he's talking about qualities of attachment and possessiveness. So attachment and possessiveness is a barrier to your spiritual evolution. Because person who is attached, person who is possessive, such a person cannot take to the spiritual path because he's totally entangled, totally caught up in the world. Throughout life, he will have the excuse, no time, no time. Even if you catch him, when he's there on a vacation, he's gone on the cruise, he's relaxing by the poolside, no time, no time. Right now I am enjoying. After I sunbathe, after I enjoy the cruise, then I will come to Vedanta. And then you go to him, sir, your vacation is over. No, it's too busy. There is some project. Whole life goes like this. So when mind is attached, mind is possessive, such a mind cannot take to the spiritual path. If you don't get what you want, you remain disturbed. I am talking about that quality of attachment and possessiveness. You're pursuing something in life, acquisition, enjoyments. So if you don't get what you want, you are disturbed. Even if you get what you want, still you are disturbed. You get the point? There's a fear of losing. So therefore, such a frame of mind is not conducive for spiritual path. And when he talks about Shudra meaning a person who is not evolved at all on a scale of 0 to 100, somebody who is at a level of 5, for argument's sake. So such a person he is tamasic, he is lazy, he is indolent. But what is telling us, even worst of worst has a hope. That's what we need to understand. Even if somebody is at 5% of spiritual evolution, you could be at 70. You may feel proud about yourself. You may remain put there. The person who is at 5%, he may overtake you. So nobody is disqualified. So what we need to understand, see this distinction of Vaishyas, Shudra, he is talking about caste system. Nobody understands. In fact, it is misunderstood. It is based on your mental textures. It's a unique contribution of Vedanta philosophy to the world. You need to understand this, that every human being is made up of 3 mental textures. They are called as Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. You can call it A, B and C. So Sattva is the highest, Rajas is the mediocre and Tamas is the lowest. Sattva is a state where person is objective, he is calm, he is composed, he is mature, he is contemplative, he is serene. Rajasic person is full of worldly desires, egocentric desires, full of attachment, possessiveness, no time, totally caught up and entangled in the world, busy fulfilling his self-centered desires. And tamas is a state of laziness, inertia, lethargy, indolence, heedlessness, indifference. So all of us have these 3. Every human being on planet Earth, he is made up of these 3 mental textures, no exception. The proportion varies. See why no 2 people are same? Because the proportion of Sattva, Rajas and Tamas is not same. Even if somebody is highly evolved, let's say sattvic person, that's what we mean. Even such a person has rajas, traces of tamas. Even if somebody is predominantly tamasic, that's what is meant by shudra, by nature, not by your birth. Even that person will have traces of rajas, traces of sattva. So a person who is highly evolved, he is called as Brahmin. And as you are because he's sattva, he's predominantly sattvic, but still he has traces of rajas and tamas, but he's predominantly sattvic. Such a person is designed to follow spiritual field. He's designed to do any thinking job. These are the think tanks of the world. And as sattva reduces, rajas and tamas catch up, then you get kshatriya, kshatriya meaning the leaders. But the sattva content has reduced substantially. Then as sattva reduces further, rajas, tamas becomes more. It is called as vaishya. Vaishya means business people. And when we talk about shudra, he could be 80 or 90% tamasic. But still there are traces of sattva and rajas even in the very tamasic person. So shudra meaning a highly tamasic person. On a scale of 0 to 100, somebody who is at a level of 5 or 10. So even such a person, see, that's the beauty. He says they also attain supreme goal. So nobody is disqualified. So even if you're emotional at this moment, it's okay. Even if you're attached, even if you're possessive, even if you have not put efforts, you don't have to worry about your present status. So if you put efforts, if you change the direction of your life, you can overcome these weaknesses, these barriers with your knowledge. And that is what he says, they also attain the supreme goal. So your conviction and consistency of efforts changes your life. Let me repeat, your conviction of this knowledge, in this knowledge, and it has to be followed by consistent efforts. You may have conviction, you may have potential, you may have capacity, but you may not put efforts, or your efforts may not be consistent, then obviously you will not evolve, or your growth will be slow. But you have understood the importance of this knowledge, you are consistent in your efforts, that's what brings about transformation in your life. So, important verse number 32. So, what do you learn here? One sentence. Can somebody explain? No, two sentences. One sentence.
No matter where you are in life, everyone has an opportunity to reach the supreme goal.
Perfect. See, this is how you can motivate people, inspire people. Sometimes you come across people, they say, no, I am nobody, you don't know my life. It doesn't matter. Worst of worst can reach the ultimate state. I don't think anybody here belongs to that category, worst of worst, Even if somebody is worst of worst, you don't have to worry. So, note down. Verse number 33, please.
किं पुनर्ब्राह्मणाः पुण्याः भक्ता राजर्षयस्तथा अनित्यमसुखं लोकम् इमं प्राप्य भजस्व माम् किं पुनर्ब्राह्मणाः पुण्याः भक्ता भक्ता राजर्षयस्तथा अनित्यमसुखं लोकम् imam prapya bhajasva mam.
Translation: how much more than holy brahmins and devout royal sages, having reached this transient, joyless world, you worship me. Anitya sukham lokam. Underline that sentence. So the thought flow continues. If even worst of worst can reach the ultimate state of self-realization. That's what he told us in the previous verse. So now he is telling us how easy the ultimate state is for highly sattvic people and people who have that mumukshatva. I'm going to explain it. So when he says how easy it is for holy Brahmins and Raja Rishis, royal sages. So holy Brahmin meaning a person who is highly sattvic. Sattva rajas tamas, you understand that now, isn't it? So a person who is highly sattvic, he has reached that state with his own efforts. And somebody who has mumukshatva, both are necessary. You are calm, you are composed by your nature, and you have that mumukshatva, that spiritual inclination, that burning desire to become a better human being or to reach the ultimate. So a sattvic person, his mind is calm and composed. So few desires, and also the quality of desires are quite high. And therefore his intellect is clear and contemplative. See, he says why it is very easy for sattvic people. So that's what I'm trying to explain. Why it is easy? Because mind of a sattvic person is calm and composed, as opposed to agitated mind. You get the difference. Since mind is calm and composed, intellect is clear and contemplative. That's what you need in the spiritual path. Clear intellect and contemplative intellect. Therefore, he or she is consistent in his efforts. There is fixation, plus there is steadfastness. If you are rajasic, full of desires, due to these desires, you cannot have that fixation. It comes and goes, right? And also you cannot be steadfast. Again, desires take over your personality. So a sattvic person, his nature is highly conducive for spiritual growth. That's what it means. If you are that person, then it applies to you. And also there is a word called as unholy Brahmins. We are not using it here. I mean, it's not in the book, but holy Brahmins, we understood, we explained just now. Sattvic person who has got mumukshatva, who has spiritual inclination, strong spiritual inclination. So, holy Brahmin. Unholy Brahmin means a person could be sattvic by nature, but due to ignorance, he is not pursuing the spiritual path. You get a point? He is quite content with his sattvic nature. He is a good person, God-fearing person, righteous, right? Calm, composed, he identifies with everybody. All that is there. Everything is positive. But there is no spiritual inclination in that person. So such people we call as unholy Brahmins. They are content with sattva, and the state of spiritual self-realization is trans-sattva. You get the point? I mean, there are a lot of people we come across in life like this. They are calm, they are composed, like righteous people. Everything they do is quite good, but they are complacent. They are like quite in many cases attached to sattva. Oh, I listen to particular type of music. I go to church every day. I go to temple on a weekend. I live simple, frugal life. I don't tell lies. All this plus. but they are attached to that sattvic lifestyle. There is no spiritual inclination. It's like a dreamer who is quite content in a dream. He's a good dreamer compared to a worse dreamer. He is a good dreamer, but he has no desire, that mumukshatva, to become a waker. Dream state is not real. I mean, how does it matter whether you're good or bad? Of course, better be good than bad. But he hasn't understood that waking state is real. Dream state is nothing but figment of his imagination. So such people, they are called as unholy brahmins. I mean, you could be sattvic, I am repeating, a good person, but there is no spiritual bug in you. There is no spiritual inclination. So it's a wake-up call. Wake up. You have come so far. Your nature is so conducive, sattvic nature, for spiritual evolution. What are you doing? You're wasting your time. And royal sages, Raja Rishis. Raja means king, Rishi means sages. So what it means in today's context of a modern world, is prosperous person with spiritual inclination. You get the point? A person who is relatively prosperous, relatively well-to-do. Prosperous doesn't mean you have to become Bill Gates or who is the richest man in the world right now? Elon Musk. Let me become Mr. Elon Musk. Let me reach that state, and then I am truly prosperous, and then I will pursue spiritual path. It can be used as an excuse. I'm just giving you an example. They could be highly spiritual people. We don't know. Just as an example, I am giving you. So the royal sages, meaning Rajarishi, means a person who is relatively well-to-do, plus he has what?
Spiritual inclination.
That is important. And this combination is rare. Those who are well-to-do, those who are prosperous, good many of them, they don't have spiritual inclination. Because once you get money, you don't know how to relate to money. What will you do? I mean, you will indulge. This is what most people are doing. But if you are prosperous, if you are well-to-do, relatively speaking, and if you have the spiritual inclination, prosperity keeps you materially fulfilled. Otherwise, the whole life you have to worry. How I'm going to buy my washing machine, how my next car is going to come, how I'm going to do this. I mean, it's like all the time, full of worry and anxiety. So when you're well-to-do, your material needs are taken care of, relatively speaking. And spirituality renders your mind calm and composed, and your intellect is clear. You get the point? So he's saying how easy it is for such people. And I would say most of you, 90-95%, or I don't know, perhaps 100% of you here, they belong to the Rajarishis, isn't it? Who is are you worried about your food? Are you worried about what car you're going to drive? Most of you are driving your dream cars. You may not say it. I mean, I'm saying in a positive manner. So what is it which is bothering you? So conducive for you. Your material needs are taken care of. No. And if you develop that spiritual inclination, I'm not saying you don't have. Definitely you have. Otherwise, what are you doing? Your growth could be meteoric in the spiritual field. So with this frame of mind, when you're sattvic, when your material needs are relatively fulfilled, you have that spiritual inclination, you come to realize that world is nothing but anitya sukham lokam. It's a fascinating construction. Anityam meaning transient. Nitya is permanent. Anitya is impermanent, passing, transient. Asukham, sukham meaning joy. Asukham is joyless, lokam. So anityam asukham lokam, impermanent joyless world. So you have woken up to this understanding. You have understood that every facet of life is impermanent. Wealth, power, name, fame, reputation, even relationships, it is impermanent. Either you may lose that relationship or by death it is going to end. Every human being is mortal. So every aspect of life, every facet of world is impermanent. You have understood that. Worldly pleasures, the whole, everybody is after sense gratification. Now, worldly pleasures, they have diminishing value. And if you go on indulging in them to the point of fault, you get zero pleasure. This is what has happened to people who are ultra rich. They go on indulging, most of them, if not all, whatever money can buy. And after a while, they understand that there is no pleasure. They don't derive any pleasure. I'm magnifying you have 500 feet yacht. I mean, how long it is going to excite you? Your dream car you buy, BMW 7 Series, how long it is going to excite you? You got 2 or 3 grand houses, how long it is going to excite you? So after a while, you come to a state where you don't experience any joy. So therefore, we find some of the ultra rich people, they suffer from big time mental depression problems. So by knowledge, you understand that worldly pleasures, they have diminishing values. Happiness is subjective. When mind changes, everything changes. Oh, Detroit is a beautiful city. Within 5-6 years, your mind can change and you may dislike Detroit. Oh, I love her, I love him. Same couple could be engaged in a bitter divorce. We often see that. 10 years back, I mean, nobody could separate them. Wherever they went, they always held their hands. After 10 years, what they want to destroy each other. Same person. What happened? Your mind changed, your happiness changed. If I get that, I'll be happy. If that happens in my life, I'll be happy. Whole life you're saying this. So what is educating us is, having reached this transient joyless world, this is how you analyze. You get my point? And what is it that you are chasing? There is no joy in the world. So what are you discarding? You are discarding a joyless world. What's the big deal? It's like I have decided to discard restaurant food. There is no happiness in the restaurant food. What are you discarding? Once in a while, okay, every day, breakfast, lunch, dinner, breakfast, lunch, dinner, restaurant you are eating. After 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, what will happen? Morning, lunch, dinner, breakfast, lunch, dinner, 3 months, 6 months, okay, 1 year. Because I don't see any reaction. Okay, 5 years. I don't know how to. What will happen to that person? McDonald's, breakfast, lunch, dinner, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Once in a while, okay, it's fun. 5 years punishment, McDonald's you eat. Nothing wrong with it. For fun, why not? What will happen?
You'll get sick of it, or it will make you sick.
So what are you discarding? I'm discarding junk food. What's the big deal? There is no happiness in the junk food. So what are you discarding in the world? It's a joyless world you are discarding. So that understanding can come only when your mind is calm and you have that spiritual inclination. So how easy for such people, he's saying. See, for ignorant people, it's no big deal, but for you people, is talking. Krishna is talking to you all. How easy. So, what is it which is holding you back?
So,
That you must ask yourself.
so before, let's say, getting a new job or buying a new clothes, we'll have happiness for, let's say, n number of days, right? When I
Correct.
was young, probably like 4 months, I'd be happy with a new job. Nowadays, it got reduced slowly. Now, within 1 month, I'm getting bored, right? Now, it has come to a point that I know that I'll get bored of it. Therefore, I'm not happy enough even when I get something new because I know that eventually I'll get bored of it. So that means it creates some sort of restlessness in me, right? Okay, so I'm not going to be like shifting from one thing to another because I know that I'll be getting bored, right?
No, nothing to do with. See, if you have the right attitude, then nothing happens. But if you are trying to find happiness in the external objects and beings, that's the point. The law of diminishing returns applies. That with every contact, you get less joy. You're fond of chocolate. You eat. I'm giving you example. You eat chocolate every day. What joy you're going to get? So when you try to find happiness in the external world, then only you get bored. It's called as the law of diminishing returns, and you're neutralized. But if you understand, see, that's the education, that there is no happiness in the world. So you just do your duties to the best of your ability. Then nothing happens. Nothing can. You can't get bored. Your thoughts are on something higher.
But then where else to find this happiness, right? So, like, say you were saying spiritual thing, you can find permanent happiness, right? Like, so you go to probably ISKCON, they do that, bhajan, that type of dancing, and
No,
it's
no. I mean,
going towards Krishna.
I get your point because we don't have too much time. You
Yeah.
can ask this question when you have Q&A session. See, when we say higher, meaning higher values of life, it's very simple. Most people, they try to find happiness in selfish desires. But if you function unselfishly in life, if you function in the spirit of service and sacrifice, you will enjoy whatever you contact in the world. Even in the relationship, if relationship is based on selfishness, I mean, sooner or later, the joy will end. In your own profession, if you are just working for yourself, money, perk, this and that, I mean, it will produce mental agitations. But higher values are you genuinely work for the organization, you genuinely work for the community. Same action. It's not that you do anything different. So, are you working for your self centered reasons, or you have a higher goal, higher ideal in life? That's the principle. Every activity in the world fits into that.
And that includes spiritual activity as well. Because even
That is
spirituality is
spirituality. What is
transient.
spirituality? I don't know. What is spirituality?
What?
Spirituality is not attending this lecture. This could be the most unspiritual activity.
Okay.
Person who is talking is highly self-centered. People who are listening are highly self-centered. You want to use this knowledge. How can I, do this? Very spirituality. The word itself is misunderstood. Where are your thoughts? Doesn't matter. If your thoughts are on something higher, I'm trying to explain to you in a very simple way. Relationship. If my thoughts are on serving my wife, serving my family, that is spirituality. As opposed to I demand, this is my right as a husband. In my job, in my business, I genuinely work for the Loka Sangra, for welfare of others. I feel that way. That is spirituality. Apart from this, there is no spirituality. This is the definition of spirituality. Being unselfish is being spiritual, period. So, coming back, only when you understand this, whatever we discussed just now, that there is least happiness in the world, you will wake up and put efforts to reach a state of permanent happiness. And also, you'll be happy till you reach the ultimate state because you have understood the futility of trying to find happiness in the world. You get a point. Somebody is right, whoever asked the question, right question. I don't know what is that permanent happiness. But the moment you understand that there is no happiness in the world, that itself gives you what? Happiness. Because you are not dependent on the world for your happiness. So, having reached this transient, joyless world, you worship me. And then the last verse number 34.
मन्मना भव मद्भक्तः मद्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मामे वैश्यसि युक्त्वैवम् आत्मानं मत्परायणः मन्मना भव मद्भक्तः मद्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मामे वैश्यसि युक्त्वैवम् आत्मानं मत्परायणः.
Translation: fix your mind on me, meaning supreme reality, knowledge, spiritual path. Be devoted to me, sacrifice to me, bow down to me. Thus, uniting yourself to me, taking me as the supreme goal, you shall come to me. Matparayanaha. So, he is concluding. Every aspect of this he has already discussed. So, he is giving general directions, specific directions he has already given in the whole chapter. So, to all the seekers, he is giving these general directions at intellectual level, mind level, physical level, and ego level. So, when he says mind fixed on me, intellect has to pitch up a higher ideal in life. That's what it means. And then mind surrenders to that ideal. If you don't have a higher ideal, then mind will overpower your personality. So take example of your own job or your profession. Why are you doing whatever you are doing? If you are doing it just for selfish interest, your mind will take over. But higher ideal is, no, I genuinely want to contribute to the growth of my community in my own field, whatever talent I have. Then mind surrenders to that higher ideal. Be devoted to me. Devotion helps you, see, it develops the devotional feelings. When he says be devoted to me, meaning he's telling us develop devotional feelings to God, supreme reality, higher power, whatever you want to call it. If you don't do that, mind will indulge in the world. So therefore, all religions, every faith, there are prayers, there is devotional singing, there is a meaning behind that. If you do it blindly, it has got no meaning. See, even here, this class in this forum, which is predominantly catering to people who are intellectual, but we start with prayer, we start with devotional singing, isn't it? So that's the role, it uplifts your mind. When you chant a prayer, when you sing devotional songs, we are surrendering to the higher power. That's the bottom line. You don't have to analyze. You may not understand that language, you may not understand what they are singing. As long as you direct your mind towards something higher, that is devotion. If you do that, then your mind will be above worldly entanglements. Otherwise, your mind will keep on thinking about this and that, terrestrial activities. Sacrifice to me is a discipline at physical level. So ask yourself, is my activity going to help me in my spiritual evolution? If yes, take it, do it. If don't, soft pedal on it or refrain from it. Or my sister-in-law baby, there is a baby shower, should I go? You ask yourself. I mean, there is no do's and don'ts. Bhagavad Gita doesn't give a list of do's and don'ts. If you feel it is a hindrance, don't do it. If you feel it is not going to affect my path, my goal, you do it. Should I go on 3-week cruise when I already been on 10 cruises? There is no right, there is no wrong. You ask yourself, is drinking alcohol going to help me in my spiritual path? If you feel it is going to help, please drink. I mean, don't take it literally. You ask yourself a particular kind of diet. So there are no do's and there are no don'ts. You have to ask yourself, is this activity going to help me in my spiritual evolution? If not, drop it like a hot potato. If yes, grab it. So sacrifice to me, bow down to me. You need to liquidate your ego, and eventually you need to eliminate your ego. So it's a discipline at the ego level. So what liquidates your ego, what reduces your ego is knowledge that you are a spoke in the wheel of life, and there is a higher power which controls everything. So you surrender to that power and just express your talent to the best of your ability. It doesn't matter what you are doing. Versus I do this, I do that. It's all I, me. So that destroys your peace. Ego is unspiritual. The moment you start reducing your ego, you're on the way to the spiritual path, because it is ego which has created our personality, and is the ego which sustains our personality, our individuality. So therefore, life's mission is to understand what ego does, reduce the ego, and eliminate the ego. Just analyze how many times you're using I, my. The focus, most people, they are soaked in that I, my. It is nothing but expression of ego. I do this, I do that, I like this, I don't like that. So understand it, arrest it, reduce it, eliminate it. So that is a discipline at the ego level. And if you do all this, A, B, C, D, E, you shall come to me. It's like GPS. From Detroit, you're going to Catskill. Some of you are going, some of you are driving. None of us know the road. How do you go? Just follow the GPS. So just follow the guidelines given by the scriptures. You will evolve spiritually, you will reach the ultimate. So that concludes chapter number 9. So we'll chant the Shanti part at the end.
ॐ तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासूपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे राजविद्या राजगुह्ययोगो नाम नवमोऽध्यायः.
You must understand what you are chanting. Om, that is real. Om means supreme reality. Supreme reality is real, everything else is false. That alone exists. Thus, in the Upanishads of the glorious Bhagavad Gita, the science of the eternal Brahma Vidya, the scripture of yoga, the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna ends the ninth chapter entitled The Yoga of Royal Knowledge and Royal Secret. So tradition is we chant verse number 1, meaning our study is not over.
श्रीभगवानुवाच इदं तु ते गुह्यतमम् प्रवक्ष्याम्यनसूयवे ज्ञानं विज्ञानसहितं यज्ञात्वा मोक्ष्यसे शुभात्.
All right, so before we conclude, there are two important announcements. Radha?
There will be no Gita class for the next 2 Saturdays, that is September 27th and October 4th. The classes will resume on October 11th, Saturday morning, same time, with chapter 10, the Yoga of Supreme Manifestation. We may have a lot of questions, so Amiji has given us these 2 weeks to reflect, and we will have question answer sessions with Amiji for the next 6 consecutive Wednesdays. The dates are October 1st, 8th, 15th, 22nd, and November 5th. Amiji, are we doing it on October 29th too? That's the last Saturday in October.
Yeah, the reason, yeah, good point, because there was public lecture in New York.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that is cancelled now.
Okay.
So let's add October 29th also. When you send the email, you please add that.
So we will have full of October, and if you're not able to complete all the questions, we'll have on November 5th too. And it will be in the evenings on Wednesdays, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Please send any questions, any doubts you have to the email ID questions@vedantamidwest.org, and the questions must be from the chapters 8, 9 and the Ishavasya Upanishad, which will be concluded in tomorrow's class.
Right. Thank you. So have a good and wonderful weekend, all of you.
Thank you, Amiji.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hari Om.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.